From that politically corrupt city, New York. Oh, yes. Politically corrupt since, I don't know, mid 19th century. Boss Tweed. Yep, you saw it on full display today with a completely corrupt attorney general who ran a one-issue campaign for attorney general. I'm going to get Donald Trump. I'm going to get Donald Trump. No concern that we were murdering people left and right, that we were setting records for car theft and, oh gosh, people just walk into stores and take everything. And you go to a pharmacy, you want to get a little toothpaste. Even Al Sharpton got annoyed that it was locked up. Oh, yes, it's locked up. But our attorney general has enough time to dispute esoteric real estate values. Esoteric, like nobody lost any money as a result of this. Nobody gained any money. Well, they gained money, actually. They made money. Nobody has sued over it. Lots of fraud where people have been ripped apart, particularly by politically connected people. But if you're a politically connected Democrat in New York, the chances of you're getting prosecuted pretty small. And your chance of reaching the judge through the county leader, well, that's really pretty good also. But I don't know. I would think, I know some of the judges in New York, and of course, like everything else, you can overgeneralize. There are some very, very good ones. I would imagine they are extremely embarrassed at the conduct of the judge in this case, who in just one moment on that camera showed us what the hell he's all about. And I knew what he was all about because throughout this case, he hasn't made a ruling that is vaguely rational or having anything to do with fairness. To evaluate Mar-a-Lago at $18 million. Actually, they should just. I don't know if this guy, I have no idea who he is. I don't know what kind of lawyer he is. If you go look at Mar-a-Lago and you think it's 17 or $18 million, please don't buy real estate. You're a major jackass. You're a major jackass. A piece of property 1/8, 1/10 the size of that on either the ocean or the intercoastal would be worth $18 million. So this is, as Donald Trump used to say, and it somehow has stopped, Mar-a-Lago is huge. It is really huge. First of all, it's on two bodies of water, the Atlantic Ocean and the intercoastal. It has beachfront property. It has a gigantic mansion and a tower attached to it with another almost separate house. I used to stay in a cottage, a 2-bedroom cottage there, which is good for a family with 2 kids. There's a larger cottage for a family with 3 kids. There are a couple of smaller cottages. There are 40 rooms or so in the main building, not mentioning the personal quarters, which are probably about 15 or 20 rooms just for the family. And then there's also a ballroom in which the Trump wedding was held. And so Bocelli has had concerts there and weddings and you name it, political events, of course, police events, society events. And then on the beach, there is a beautiful beach club where you can have lunch, sometimes dinner, parties. There, and then another group of rooms. On the top, beautiful rooms that I stayed in for one time after I actually stayed there and recouped my energy after losing in 2008. Stayed right on the beach, fabulous. You get up in the morning, go right in the water. Below there are maybe 8, no more than that, about a dozen rooms, different sizes. Upstairs, sort of a penthouse suite with two gigantic rooms. I don't know. I'm not a real estate person. I know the values in Palm Beach because I've been going there 20 years, and I bought a condo there. It could be anywhere from half a bill to a bill. Particularly as I mean, if you evaluate it as a commercial property, I mean, if Trump were to sell it, it could easily be purchased by a company like let's say, Breakers, that might want to expand there. They're constant competitors anyway. For a silly judge, and you will see in a minute that he's a silly judge, to put a value like that on it just tells you how biased, how prejudiced, how small-minded, how limited, how out of his league he is, and how he's just one more apparatchik in this gigantic Democrat conspiracy to block him from being president. I mean, we didn't end up with 4 trials in the year before the election against a leading Republican candidate accidentally, did we? Any more than we ended up with 5 places that shut out Republicans from looking at paper ballots, all using the same apparatus, like these fences that you use for cows. They probably went to the same merchant to get them, and then in 5 different places across 1,000 miles, they did the same thing. They made sure you couldn't see the phony paper because, God forbid, anybody got a chance to look at it. Kemp and Rathensberger, Republicans, but they had their own deal, crooked deal with the Democrats, went along with that. This reminds me of that. But you see, this is just a chapter in the same book. The book begins with Russian collusion, and now we're on to let's destroy him by trying him every day in 2024 so he can't campaign. So when we finish this case in December, the guy says it's going to go to December. That's really stretching it out. That's what lazy judges do when they get their hands on a case. They stretch it. Just given his ridiculous evaluation of Mar-a-Lago, I wonder how insane and irrational the judgment will ultimately be in this case. I wonder if there's the political will within the Democrat-controlled New York judiciary and bar associations to do anything about it. That's really the key. Has New York retained a small percentage of a justice system? Like D.C. doesn't have it. D.C. has no justice system. No point in going to trial if you're Trump or a Trump in D.C. You're going to be found guilty. You're going to be found liable. You're going to be put in jail. They're going to forget bail. It's, I don't know, East Berlin, Nazi Germany. What do you want to call it? One of those. I have hope that New York isn't that bad because it isn't as wacky political as Washington. We'll see. The beginnings of this case make you wonder. I thought Trump summed up what's wrong with the case better than anyone. So maybe we should start, if we can, Ted, with a few clips of the former president this morning.
Can we start with the judge smiling? And I'm uploading Trump clips.
Well, you see, the judge, this is really part of a story. I hope I get it right, because I watched this I watched this on and off. The judge wanted to put this on television. And I think once they realized that Trump was going to dominate on television and how stupid a lot of the things they're saying are. Like, imagine if you were watching on television and he said that Mar-a-Lago was worth $18 million. 40 million people would be down there trying to buy it. I mean, you have no idea how absurd that valuation is. But now I want you to see why, because I want you to see what I'm suspended from the bar, so I don't really have to worry. I don't have much hope that I'm going to get a fair trial. So We can talk about that separately. I'm
Contest in open court. The former president scowling as he locks eyes on Justice Arthur Engoron, who seems unfazed by Trump's glare. He removes his glasses and mugs for the camera. On the other side of the courtroom, 4 rows behind Trump.
But you see, Letitia James doesn't smile because for her, this is the culmination of the only reason why she ran for Attorney General. She does nothing about the murderers, the thieves, the rapists, the people who, the unbelievable increase we've had in looting that has driven business after business out of New York and put New York near the bottom in employment, including among poor people. She doesn't really give a damn about regular fraud where people are, like maybe she should get involved in fraud where people lose money as opposed to where people don't lose money, which is what this is. And maybe she should get a judge that knows the difference between an $18 million piece of property and a $500 million piece of property. But let's take another look. Let's take another look at the jerk.
Contest in open court. The former president scowling as he locks eyes on Justice Arthur Engoron, who seems unfazed by Trump's glare. He removes his glasses and mugs for the camera.
He's so cute. He's such a cute little jerk. Yeah. Imagine your fate lies in his hands. And he can't figure out the difference between an 18 million and a $500 million to $1 billion piece of property.
Mayor, I wonder what he is ruling on the property value. I wonder what that's done for the neighborhood down there. What are will that impact?
Committing suicide.
Will that impact? I mean, how will this? Could that impact?
There's a house right next to it, right? There's a house right next, a big, beautiful white house. I won't tell you who owns it. I know. There's a house right next to it that's probably could be worth 18 million. I'd say maybe 15, Ted. That house just went down to about 2 million. I think the person just lost all the value. If this place is, might even be worth $1 million. I better just leave. If Mar-a-Lago is 18 million, my poor little condo, I'm gonna have to actually pay somebody to buy it. She just completely ruined the values. I mean, he just completely destroyed all the values.
I mean, that could have some implications, right? I'm guessing it'll be corrected.
Well, why don't we use 18 million? Maybe I should go back and we could challenge the taxes, you know.
Yeah.
I'm paying all these taxes. My property's only worth about, $2,000-$3,000 on that scale.
If Mar-a-Lago is worth
if Mar-a-Lago's worth 18 million, my condo's worth about $4,000. On which I have to pay 22 cents tax. This is what happens when you have a political justice system. Now, you want to know, you say, Giuliani, the judge was elected. My backside, he was elected. He was elected like Putin gets elected, unanimously, unopposed. What happened is this judge got on the bench by selection of non-political de Blasio. And then after serving on the civil court and doing everything they wanted him to do, he got put on the ballot, not with the primary, not democratically small d, but democratically as in Boss Tweed Democrat. The Democrat county leader picked him out and said, you're going to be on a ballot and you're going to be unopposed. Think that makes him loyal to the party? Now, I'm not going to accuse this county leader of doing what some of them used to do, which is take money from the guy. But that was true just a decade ago. Either money to the county leader in the case of the one who committed suicide, or money to the party. That's how we select judges in New York. They are all political animals. Okay? Don't let anybody fool you. They do not get elected by the people because they don't get on that ballot unless the county leader selects them. Now, to be fair, in Republican counties, it's the Republican county leader who selects them. In counties that are not dominated by Republicans and Democrats, you will have competitive races for, let's say, a county that's, 40% Democrat, 38% Republican, the rest independent. There, you're going to have competitive races for judges, unless the parties are screwing around with each other, because sometimes Republicans and Democrats do corrupt deals with each other. Did you know that? So the Democratic guy, let's say he's got a little edge in the county, he'll get maybe one extra. The Democrats will go along with the Republican selections, the Republicans go with the Democrat selections, and then every once in a while they may have a fight in a primary. That happens a lot also. And then you have some honest counties in which you actually have elections. Rare, rural, not the big cities. They're all Democrat controlled. Is there a Republican on the New York Supreme Court other than in Staten Island? When I was mayor, there was one, Marilyn Diamond, one Republican in Manhattan on the court. Every once in a while, they'll put a Republican on. They'll throw a bone to the Republican county chairman. But it's like throwing a bone, and who knows what he's got to do for it. Some servile act, I would imagine. So when the president says that this is a completely political system, oh, yes. And of course, James is a completely political animal. She's the only prosecutor I ever heard ran on prosecuting one person. And I don't think she pays attention to any other case. I mean, the rest of the justice system in New York is going to hell. People are leaving here because of it. And as the attorney general, she does nothing but watch it decay all over the state. I mean, it is, and she has responsibility beyond New York. New York's not even the most per capita dangerous city in the state. Between her and Hochul, I mean, you got Rochester setting records for murder. You have the Democratic DA in Albany revolting against the woke garbage, but he's about the only one. Bragg's got about 8,000 criminals out on the street that I would have had in jail. So would Ray Kelly, by the way. And she's sitting in the courtroom there. She's got nothing better to do today but sit in the courtroom. She doesn't know how to try the case. I could teach her. I mean, I could say, Tricia, here's the first thing you do is, may it please the court. My name is, what's her name? Patricia James, really her full name? My name is Patricia James. I represent the state of New York. Here's how you mark an exhibit, Patricia. You take the document, you say, I take this document. You probably try to give a name to it like Trump to leave Trump, entitled Trump to leave Trump Tower. Madam Clerk, would you please mark this as State's Exhibit Number 1? State Exhibit Number 1. Your Honor, I'm going to show it to my opponent, and I'll also give you a copy. Opponent looks at it and says, no objection, Your Honor. The judge says, accept it into evidence as State's Exhibit Number 1. That's how you do it, Tricia. It's not that hard. I could teach you how to do that. When you have to cross-examine, you ask leading questions. Oh, you know what that is. Wouldn't be hard for you to figure it out. You did go to law school, right? How come you weren't trying the case, Tricia? What, are you afraid? You afraid to stand up in front of the judge? A lot of you woke prosecutors are afraid to try cases, aren't you? Yeah. Looks like you are. This is your biggest case. You had time to sit in the courtroom watching like it was Perry Mason. But it was like a ticket to a Broadway play for you. You know what I think of prosecutors who can't try cases? Could we see the judge one more time, please?
Contest in open court. The former president scowling as he locks eyes on Justice Arthur Engoron, who seems unfazed by Trump's glare. He removes his glasses and mugs for the camera.
And that's what they do. They mug for the camera. So this case is going to take until December 22nd. There are four lined up for next year so that he can't run for president. And now they've got all these people that they are threatening with prosecution who are going to take the Fifth Amendment so that, for example, if I have to go to trial or contest my bar association things, I won't have any witnesses to corroborate the truth of what I'm saying, because they'll all be told by their attorneys, quite rightly, to take the Fifth Amendment. You don't think they're doing that? Not necessarily to me, but you don't think they're doing that to Trump on purpose? Depriving him of his First Amendment right, his Sixth Amendment right to call witnesses? Well, they've deprived him of every right that you can deprive someone of. Why not that one? Right? Privacy? How is it that Trump legally takes things from the White House under the Presidential Record Act? Biden steals them from Congress, literally steals them from the Senate. A senator is not allowed to take documents out. They must remain in a SCIF. I'm not sure about a vice president, but and he took them out. So I don't know. It's at least as technically illegal as putting a false number down that doesn't result in any loss to anybody, right? Sounds even more serious to me. And how is it that all those documents end up in places that the Red Chinese have access to? You probably don't know that. Let's put that down as another piece of information we gave them that in Biden's censored America, they don't get. So the documents were left in Chinatown, 2 institutes that are run and funded by China, and then they were put next to the car, which a Chinese spy passed every day. That Chinese spy, of course, would be Hunter Biden, who has self-proclaimed rather loudly, both in writing and in words, that he was the partner of the chief spy of China. Yes, you wonder how could Biden remain president when his son, who lives with him, was the partner of the chief spy of China. He can remain president because we have a corrupt government. That's how. The answers are simple. The questions are tough. So this James civil case, I don't know if you had to rate these cases, which is the dumbest, which is the here. Look what they do. Look what the left-wing press does. Now this makes the man look like a serious judge. Can you see that, Ted? Can people see that?
Yeah, let me zoom in. Hold it up.
Yeah, it makes him look like a serious judge. You saw what a clown he was. You saw what a clown. But they, you know. So then if they have Trump, they'll have a picture of him with his head down, or something. Now let's see. Now the one thing that I was always taught as a prosecutor was the government doesn't win just if it gets a conviction. The government wins sometimes when there's an acquittal. Did you know that, Ted? Because the purpose is to do justice. When my assistants would come back and somebody would be acquitted, and it was a good case, a good close case, not one where we thought we blew it,
Yeah.
I would say, come on, this is what we did justice. Okay, we did our best, and the jury disagreed with us. Justice does not assume that everybody's guilty. Otherwise, why do you have a trial? But now let's listen to this much more uncivilized, completely pre-common law, savage approach to the law of candidate Letitia James, who happens to be the one that broke up de Blasio's inauguration when she viciously attacked Mike Bloomberg. But she was the first person at a New York inauguration to use it for a major, nasty political attack on Bloomberg. Mike sat there. I'd have walked.
A warning to all of those in high places who think that they're above the law.
And Letitia James, sworn in on Tuesday,
Do solemnly swear.
has made clear that among her biggest targets will be President Trump and his business practices.
I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president.
After all, Trump's company is headquartered in New York.
Did she say illegitimate president?
Yes.
How come she wasn't indicted?
Should we play it again?
Wasn't that an insurrection?
That is absolutely what that is. She's questioning.
God, is she a Proud Boy? You got to check her out.
No comment.
Well, I mean, well, you could say Proud Boy now about a
Yeah,
woman.
no, of course you can. Yeah, I want. There's so many places I could go with that.
Proud Boys
I,
have.
I won't.
Don't Proud Boys have women or not?
I didn't even know what a Proud Boy was until
Well, we know what
MSNBC and
they
CNN
are.
told us.
They're the ones that the judges in the District of Columbia like to hold without bail. We don't know if they did anything, but they just hold them. If they decide that you're a Proud Boy,
Yeah.
they don't try you. We're still they've been there for 2 years. They just put you in a terrible, mean jail. A couple of them have committed suicide. It's so bad. But you think she? Well, let's
Let's hear that again.
yeah, let's hear that again. This. I mean, I didn't think I
Fair warning to all of those in high places who think that they're above the law.
And Letitia James, sworn in on Tuesday,
Do solemnly swear.
has made clear that among her biggest targets will be President Trump and his business practices.
I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president.
After all,
Wow. Back to you. Wow, Mayor.
gotta write that down. I gotta report that to Smith.
And while you're reporting
I
that,
gotta
we'll take.
report that illegitimate president. Isn't that isn't that what they say? Trump and his people.
While you report that, let's hear from one of our sponsors.
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody will hear my report. Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now.
You're back.
Posing as a nice lady. She's an election denier. Oh, wow. It just can't trust anybody anymore. Well, now we have a big question about, of course, from New York, of course, a socialist, Representative Jamal Bowman. Extremely. Jamal Bowman, the question is, and I would like all of you to weigh in on this, arsonist or moron? So let's take a look. Ted, can we show a few pictures on my favorite little picture machine here?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I want to show you,
Show me the wires.
just want to show you the signs.
Yeah. Hand me that. Is there a wire in the back? Do you have the other end of it?
I don't know.
Okay. I'll look for it. You keep talking.
Well, I'll just explain who Jamal, you should know, is he's an avowed socialist. He lines up with the Democrats, but he's a socialist. Does he know what a socialist is? I guess. And I don't know. I would like to ask him if he also considers himself a communist, because he acts sometimes like he is. Does not seem to like the United States very much. Certainly doesn't like our police.
We'll put it up.
And I mean, this is really amazing, because We will now, within the space of about 10 minutes, Ted and I, we should get some real credit here from the FBI. We will have come up with 2 insurrectionists that you don't even know about. And I assume they're going to be treated just the same way that insurrectionists are treated.
Can you see that?
Now, can people see that?
Yeah.
So what is that? That is the those are the doors right near
Look, Mayor.
the alarm that Congressman Bowman let off when Congress was going to vote on continuing the government, and he was opposed to their voting on it. So he wanted to interrupt it. It seems to me that interrupting it is exactly the statute on which all these people have been put in jail basically for the rest of their lives. Also suffered the indignity of being held without bail the way people are in Nazi and fascist and communist countries and China today. Somehow he's not on bail or not bail, but these are the signs that he would have seen. Now, he did say first that he did hit the alarm, I think. But now he's changed his story to he thought it was a way to open the door. Let me show you what it looked like. You see that? Here, let me show you what it looked like. That's what he would have thought opened the door. Do you see that? Yep. You see that, right? That you have a door that says fire, push in, pull down. That could happen to you, right? You could think that was your door, right?
So
this defense really makes a lot of sense. Congressman Bowman thought this was a door. Here, show it again, Ted, and then I'll take it out for everybody to see.
It's on there.
Let me take it out for everybody to see, because everybody can get a chance to try and make believe they're pulling it. Here, look. See? You just pull. Do you have a door like that, Ted, at home? You have a door?
So why are they saying I saw this story today. Why are
This is terrible. They're really picking on this guy.
Why are they saying
he said, I thought this was a door. I was shocked when the fire alarm went off. I mean, how did I know? Because it said fire up here. You got to pull the latch down. There were all these signs around that push until alarm sounds 3 seconds.
This guy's voting on matters of national security. This guy's a U.S. congressman.
I just think you're so unfair. But I mean, also,
why are they?
This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like on the wall. Notice how close to a door it is. So he thought he was opening the door by pulling that. Well, you notice there. You see the door, don't you? Where?
Mayor.
So that's what I mean. That's the way doors work now. The door is on one side of the wall, and then to get in, you press a fire alarm, and that lets you into the door. This is what the congressman thought.
To be fair, you've seen those handicap buttons, right?
Yeah.
Where you push the button.
Here.
And the button opens the door.
Here he is pushing it, quite obviously not going through a door. There he is pushing it. Right there. Looks like his hand is pulling something down, doesn't it? His hand is pulling that down.
So, is there a potential nefarious purpose for him to pull the fire alarm?
Interrupt the vote.
This was during the vote.
This was to interrupt the vote. He didn't want a vote on the Republican measure. It was to interfere with a proceeding of the government for which there are some people who have gone to jail for 20 years. It also created a bit more danger than some of them because fire alarms have been known to create panic. They've been known to get people killed.
Stampedes.
I had an uncle who almost died as a result of a false alarm. He was a firefighter. He rushed to the fire. He was driving the tiller in the back of the hook and ladder. He hit a famous New York City pothole, and he went flying. It was in the era before seatbelts. He went flying off, and at 24, 25, they thought he might not walk again. The good news is he not only walked again, he remained for a 27-year career in the fire department,
Wow.
and came out as a captain. And he was a source of one of my reasons for loving the fire department, because when I would go visit him, he was in terrible pain due to this false alarm. But all he would talk about is going back to work and the great feeling you have when you save people. Remarkable. These men and women are remarkable. And what they go through from the left-wing animals is really just unbelievable. So the Nobel Prize for medicine goes today to two people who are pioneers of the COVID vaccine. So I think they got it because they're the first people to develop a vaccine that isn't a vaccine. And that's why they got the Nobel Prize for medicine, because we now can change the name of vaccine to it doesn't prevent the disease. It used to be a vaccine like the polio vaccine. You took it and then you didn't get polio. So this is a new kind of vaccine, and that's why they got the award. This is a vaccine where if you take the vaccine, you can still get the disease. And then it turned out in certain tests, particularly in Europe where they don't cheat, that if you take the vaccine, you might actually have a greater chance of getting the disease than if you didn't. Then it turned out that after you take the vaccine, you have to take numerous boosters, for which the company making the vaccine makes about $1 billion a booster. So the more boosters, the better, right? Particularly since this has nothing to do with health. Medicine doesn't anymore in America, nor does the Nobel Prize. It has to do with making money. This is the same Nobel Prize that was given to Barack Obama for peace before he was president. And then he went to war, which was real encouragement. This is, around the time he decided that ISIS was the JV and you didn't have to do anything about it. And all of a sudden, halfway through his presidency, we have a major war with ISIS, which, by the way, was concluded, it wasn't concluded until a real president got elected, Donald J. Trump. So we will take a short break, and we will be right back to see who else got prizes for things like vaccines that don't work.
The year is 2022. Cancel culture is the new normal. Online freedom, as we know it, has ended. Digital stockades are here. All activity is monitored, stored, and predictively analyzed by a technological cartel. We're being converted into a digital resource, a digital currency to be farmed for metadata and loaded into a computerized combine, blockchained to a social engineering operating system. However, it doesn't have to be this way. Be part of a new technological revolution. Right now, 1,000 test pilots have launched themselves into a new digital frontier, a private network outside of big tech control. New technology with state-of-the-art digital engagement and never-done-before security and privacy features that are now operational. With Quick's digital engagement, entertainment, communication, and commercial exchange will never be the same. We are QUX, Quicks. Advanced pre-release sales are limited to 3,000. Order now by visiting Quicks.tv. Get yours now before they sell out. Be part of a brand new online experience that you control.
So we're going. Ted wanted to dress up my Balance of Nature ad because he said it would look nicer if I had a glass. But I want you guys to know that I'm a regular guy. Always have been, by the way. And I just take, and I've actually trained myself for this ad at I'm sure because Dr. Howard, who runs this operation, I think he'd be mad at me, and so would Dr. Maria if I did it the other way, because I would be giving a bad example. And that is, I often, not anymore, I used to take pills without water.
Wow, that's impressive. I couldn't do that.
You can choke yourself, dope. Why not take water?
And sometimes you can overthink it, right? When you're taking a big pill and then someone reminds you that you're taking a big pill, and I overthink it, and then I know, then you're conscious of it as you drink the water and you want to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually take the fruit 2 and then the vegetable 2. But tonight I'm going to do a mixture. I'm going to do fruit, vegetable. Now, Ted, while I'm doing this, you tell these people how they can get a great deal on this. And therefore, I really want everybody to have this so we can have a little ceremony.
That's right. So join us in taking your balance of nature, and be sure to visit www.balanceofnature.com and use the promo code Rudy. It's important that you use that promo code Rudy when you get your balance of nature today. So that information is up on the screen right now. And again, get your balance of nature today. Dozens of fruits and vegetables packed into those little pills, and it has the mayor's seal of approval. Balanceofnature.com, promo code Rudy, RUDY.
This is not medicinal, it's just fun. Evil spirits, go away. Okay. Now, I have an idea, Ted. I think when we start our special channel, which is going to be about a week or two, hopefully, when Twitter is ready for us, or maybe even before. I enjoyed our live event at America First Warehouse so much that I'm thinking we should have a live event. We should invite special guests who are part of America's Mayor Confidential, so we can have private meeting with them, and then we'll have a regular show with them too, but a private meeting with them and a private show. But the price of admission, if you're a subscribed member, will be you have to come in with your own bottle. I suggest getting I suggest bringing the little ones that you can get for, you get $25 off. I mean, you get 35% off together. But get the small ones for travel. And then we'll have maybe, I don't know how many guests we had. How many guests did we have at American?
I'd say with everything, 70, 80.
Okay.
I'd say, and that's being very conservative.
We might do a little smaller so we can have a little more of a...
Our first one, I'd say 150 to 200.
So maybe we'll have 40 or 50 people. And we'll have a special America's Mayor Confidential conference. And the price of admission will be you have to come in with your balance of nature, and then we will all have it together. Okay? You know,
We could start doing it at like 8:30 every night, or we got to pick a time.
Like a toast.
Yes, we pick a time, and someone can be ready for their balance of nature.
Well, I have a sad duty because Dr. Maria is not here tonight. I have a sad duty to do because she very much wants to make this part of our show. This young lady is missing. And she's a beautiful, beautiful young lady. She's a 9-year-old girl. She went camping with her parents on Saturday in New York's Moreau Lake State Park, which is near Greenfield, New York. And on Saturday evening, she asked if she could do one last loop around their picnic field by herself because she wanted to feel like she was older, like the older kids get to do. And you got it. She got on her bike at 6:15, and she never came back. That was Saturday night. The police were at the scene by 6:45, which is remarkable. They found her bike on what is called Loop A, and they did a full, complete, continuous 18-hour search of the park, and they now believe the child is no longer there. And at 9:45 on Sunday, they issued an Amber Alert, believing that it's possible that she's been abducted. They've done an aquatic search of the waterways that are there. They are doing everything they can to find her. Would you put her picture up, Ted, as we're talking about her?
Yep.
And I'll show it again the other way. Just want to make sure people get a good look at her. Can we make it bigger? There it is. Here, maybe take it down just a little, huh? Is that better? That better?
Yep.
Young ladies, Young lady is she's a baby. She's a baby, 9-year-old. 9-year-old Charlotte Senner. Charlotte spelled Sharlott, as it would normally, and Senner, Sena. Charlotte Senner. And she appeared on Saturday evening at 6:15, and she was at the Moreau Lake State Park in Greenfield, New York. And if you have any information about her, please let Amber Alert know. How exactly do you get Amber Alert, Ted? Will you look it up for us just so we're on target here? Here she is. I'll show you another picture of her for our Getter audience. There you are. Look at that lovely young girl. Do they have a good shot of it, Ted?
Yep. Oh, make sure. Yeah, they can see it. They can see it. So Amber Alert. So let's look. That's a good question, Mayor. How to reach Amber Alert?
First thing you just call the New York State Police.
Yeah. So obviously, I think one thing to do is call 911 if you have any information or immediate information. Right. If you see something, if you see her, call the police. Right.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Let's see if we can get a number though.
If you have information, it's not necessarily.
Just look her up. While we're doing the rest of the show, look her up.
Look.
They'll have some special information on her. Just look her up, so we can help find her. We did help find one. We're very proud of that. Here we are. I'm also going to show you.
This is within the hour, Mayor. This is great news. This is coming just as you announced that we were looking for her. 9-year-old Charlotte Senna found safe and healthy. This is within the last hour. The 9-year-old girl who disappeared.
Oh my God.
This is confirmed. I want to get one that doesn't have a paywall here. The 9-year-old girl was found safe and sound. The parents of the missing 9-year-old girl who vanished on a camping trip in New York received a ransom note at their home after she had disappeared. New York Governor Kathy Hochul is telling CNN Monday night. Hochul told Anderson Cooper the note had fingerprints on it, which assisted authorities in finding a suspect. The suspect's fingerprints were already in law enforcement database. So this is within the last hour.
That is amazing. Oh my goodness. Well, what a happy young girl, huh? Who knows what she went through, but the warm embrace of her parents and her friends and all the community will make up for this. Thank God. It leaves you so worried when this kind of thing happens, doesn't it? Oh my goodness.
The
The suspect has a sexual abuse history.
Yeah, and does he have a name?
Not yet. They raided the guy's house and found her.
That's insane. That is just
No
scary.
information on
The
him?
fact that when you hear these stories, Mara, right? Like, I mean,
Threw her into her car and dragged her into the woods.
scares that. I mean, when you hear stuff like that,
But
like
no,
you think
no information.
they're
on
not
him?
releasing his name.
Well, this Greenfield, New York, is right near. It's right near Saratoga. It's, I would say, it looks to be about 5 miles north of Saratoga, and about 10 miles south of Glens Falls, and maybe 20 miles north of Albany. So that's essentially the part of New York it's in. About, I'd say 20 to 30 miles above Albany, headed toward Canada, headed toward Lake George. Very prominent vacation areas in New York that are now probably pretty much closing for the season. This has to be incredibly good news for the Center family. And we thank God for the wonderful resolution of this. And we'll let you know who's responsible for this as soon as we find out. You know, New York is suffering from an incredible influx of migrants, which in a way is exaggerated a bit by the fact that it's nothing compared to Texas. It's about 10% of Texas, but it has all of New York Democrats who invited this in a panic. I mean, remember, this only comes about because of two people. There are two people responsible for this. It's President Biden, who opened the border completely. There is no border interdiction of any kind. When they say border security, it's a joke. You can walk across the border, and then they'll process you. And you'll be almost processed as if you were legal, because you'll be given a date to come to court that could be 4 or 5 years from now. That doesn't take account for the gotaways, which are the people that are coming in that they don't have time to stop. Last month was the largest number of people we processed, about 250,000, and probably the largest number of gotaways. Right now in New York, we're already at 110,000, which our mayor says is catastrophic. Now, the interesting thing about our mayor saying that it's catastrophic is that he invited it. He began, when he was running for mayor, to say what an accommodating place New York was for all immigrants. He refused to acknowledge that there are such things as illegal immigrants. I mean, those are people who walk across the border without permission, by the way, or who have phony claims of asylum, which is true of 98% of them. He said that New York would be nicer to them than other places. He said that New York would give them a longer period of welfare, that it would share COVID money with them, that they, of course, would get an education as well as a higher education. They would get health insurance. And then now he and the governor are working on getting people jobs. This is not true of most of the rest of America. So then the people who come in who have some knowledge of this select New York. New York is, without any doubt, anybody that goes down there, the number one place they want to come to. And just in case you think it's stopping, I'd like you to take a look at this picture, which is a picture at the Rio Grande in Eagle Pass. Eagle Pass is now taken over. You see that, Ted?
I do.
The Eagle Pass is now taking over. I'd like you to look, they talk about families. I'd like you to look at the number of single men there. What would you say, about 3/4?
Oh, I would say 90%.
Yeah.
I would say
Carefully selected, I should tell you, by a cartel. These are not just like, these people all passed a cartel test. Now, you see some women. I see some women up in the corner there.
I
But
see
would
3
say-
women, maybe 4, but I think that's a guy with long hair.
But here in the front section here, in this front section.
That's
right
all
here,
men. That's
These are
all men.
Then you see a few women over here and children. Those are the
I'll
children are probably the
Pull
pawns
it down.
that will be used to get people in. This idea that demented Biden does these children and these children are being used as pawns, and I don't know where he all of a sudden worries about children very much. He sure as hell doesn't worry about his granddaughter. This children thing, I don't know. But look at this. I mean, this is basically, these people could be living next to you. And here's the problem. They may be nice people. They may not. You know why? We don't know who the hell they are. And somehow we don't care. You know, we could find out more about them if we spent a little time with the cartels. The cartels that specialize in several multi-billion-dollar businesses, one of them being drugs, fentanyl being the specialty, another one being human trafficking, women, children, another of them being assisting organizations that give them big money for coming in, like ISIS or MS-13, who likes to chop your heads off. This group that we're showing you down at Eagle Pass, Texas, could be in your neighborhood in the Bronx later this month. And then Adams will try very, very hard to give them to someplace else in New York. But, you know, Adams was a cop, not a salesman. He's done very poorly selling these migrants to other people. Maybe it's because the first one was such a disaster. He got the Democratic county executive in Erie County, and it would have to, of course, been a Democrat who agreed to this, who took 2 busloads of them. I think it was only 30 or 60 of them. And in less than 24 hours, there were 2 rapes of local people. Needless to say, the buses turned right around and came back to New York City, and that guy will have nothing to do with Adams again. Because Adams doesn't seem to get it into his head that these are not just normal people coming over the border. They are orchestrated by the Sinaloa cartel, the El Golfo cartel. We can go through, I haven't done one in a while. I did several podcasts showing exactly where they were located. I will get it up to date and do one and show you where they're located. They are extraordinarily professional. They control the border the way an excellent toll collection company would control it. And they get tolls, but it isn't like pennies. For the big ones, the terrorists and the drug dealers, and we're talking thousands and maybe more. And as you might imagine, the worst ones are the gotaways, right? So here's the way it works. They take a group like this that I'm showing you, which is only, I should have a bigger picture. This group is probably 10 times the size of what you see there. And these people have come in and they are detected, and something will be done with them. They'll be paroled into the United States. But at least we'll know they came in. We'll have no real assurance that they're not criminals. We'll have no real assurance. We don't really do much of a medical test. We'll have no real assurance that they don't have communicable diseases. As far as we know, they could have just been let out of prison. They're all going to claim asylum somehow. Almost none of them are entitled to it. Almost none. They all lie about it. They're told to say it. And then when they actually have a trial, something like 2% prevail. But that gets them enough time in here that we get so kind-hearted we don't get rid of them, even after they beat up one of our citizens, kill one of our children, rape somebody, or we still keep them. But this is the better part of it. The other part of it is the group of people that they're coming in allowed to come in unobserved because they're used as decoys. I mean, I told you, these are very smart people who run these cartels. So you bring in a group like this, it gets a great deal of attention from law enforcement, and 10 miles, 20 miles away, there's a nice big opening, and you bring in a couple thousand MS-13 people. Or you bring in lots of people with gigantic amount of fentanyl so they can just kill us to help the Chinese in their war against us. I mean, the Chinese are killing 70, 80,000 of us with fentanyl as if we're at war with them, except no Chinese get killed in this war, and it doesn't cost them a penny. Well, I mean, the governor, Bob McManus in the Post, who is probably one of our best columnists ever, very sarcastically makes the point, by golly, she's got it. Governor Hochul now thinks that you shouldn't allow these people to come in. It only took her a couple of years and 110,000 in New York and about 6 million in the United States. She thinks that Congress should stop them. Well, are they stupid, or is this just like jerking around with us? Congress is not supposed to stop them. The president is. Congress makes laws. The president executes laws. Court interprets laws. Got it, Kathy? You must have gone to one of those schools run by the teachers union. They don't teach history and civics. They just teach you want to change your gender. President, it's the president. Biden, you can say it. Come on, Kathy. You can say it. Biden should stop from coming in. My suggestion is, first time you say it really softly, like Biden should close the border. And as you gain more, Biden should close the border. You might sound like a governor. Now, you, Adams, you're really interesting. I mean, I think you said that Biden should close the border yet. I don't know. You're also Congress should do it. You do want the border closed now, but you're also offering them jobs. So the ones that are someplace else without jobs, I don't know if you know how this works, because you're not big on producing jobs. You're really big on producing dependency and welfare. But here's how it works. So if they're someplace else and they hear they can get a job here, they may be inclined to come or draw more people here. I mean, you did a really great job at drawing them here by telling them that they'll get extra welfare, extra money. Yeah, I forgot. You even gave them the right to vote. Wow. Now you don't want them. You're fickle. You too. I'll work with you. We'll do a couple of sessions called developing cojones sections, exercises. We begin very softly. You know, maybe we send like an anonymous message to Biden and say, so just try it out so nothing happens to you. You say, President Biden should close the border. You could say it very soft, or you could even do a please. Please, President Biden, close the border, please, please. 2 pleases. Then we'll get it down to 1 please. Who knows, by the very end, you may start sounding like a mayor. The idea that you'll become one is fast disappearing. Well, Kat is mixing her message about closing the border. She has targeted Congress to put a limit on who can come across and more agents to nab illegals. Did she know that Ted, do you think that Hochul knows that the agents work for the president? Or does she think that Congress does this?
Yeah, that's a good question. I honestly, I don't know what she knows.
Think she's afraid of the president?
I think
You
she's
think it would help if
likely looking for something. I mean, look, she fell into this governor's position, right, when the former governor was removed, and so I'm sure it's open for her. Just falling into this position, right, as governor, she probably does have some ambitions, right? All of a sudden now she's governor of one of the largest and most followed states in the country. It just seems that these
so
problems will keep-
So who do you think is more in need of cojones training, her or Adams? So she did her big brave thing and said there should be a limit on who can come across and more agents to nab illegals. And she said Congress should do this. So that's great. But then she also said that she was going to provide more free college tuition, driver's license, and health care. So sort of a mixed message. Don't come, but if you do come, you'll be better taken care of than any place else. Now, Adams, who wanted to outdo her in confusing the hell out of people, one of his high-ranking city hall officials, Ingrid Lewis Martin, who is the chief advisor to Mayor Adams, called on the federal government to close the border. Now that sounded pretty good, right?
Yeah.
This is someone I don't know. Her name is Ingrid Lewis Martin. She is described as a high-ranking city hall official. No title.
Well, she must be important. She's got three names,
She's a
Mayor.
chief advisor for Mayor Adams. And she said, quote, close the border. Sounds like a Republican, right? Sounds like the mayor, even though he couldn't do it himself, sounds like Ingrid Lewis Martin, is his courage. She made it during an interview with WPIX. Federal government. Now listen to Lewis Martin. She's a toughie. The federal government needs to do its job. We need the federal government, the Congress members, the Senate, and the president to do its job. Close the borders. Lewis Martin also called for a full-on decompression strategy that would put incoming migrants in all 50 states. Then somebody told Adams, after fainting and being revived, put out the deputy mayor for communication insisted the Adams administration believes the country should continue to welcome immigrants. To be very clear, the New York City mayor has said over and over again, of course, this nation should continue to welcome immigrants, both those seeking asylum and those who are not. Fabian Levy said in a series of posts on X, formerly Twitter. So I think maybe Adams got scared, which is understandable that he'd be scared. Very understandable that he'd be scared because he's a Democrat governor, a mayor, and they always make the wrong decisions, which is why their cities are in such terrible shape. But do you believe this? You believe the two of them? I mean, this is ridiculous. This is totally ridiculous. This is like Mutt and Jeff.
Yeah.
I mean, this is totally ridiculous. She says Congress should stop them from coming over the border. But then she offers them a lot more goodies. Then he finally gets somebody that says the president should close the border. Then he contradicts the person.
These are not the smartest people. No one's going to accuse them.
Well, no
of.
wonder the city is going to hell.
It must be sad for you
So
to see.
why don't we conclude with, what do you think of this Gates, whatever his name
Gates.
is, and McCarthy thing? McCarthy does the last minute keep it open for a couple of weeks. He gets a hold up on Ukrainian money, which I thought was big. He's working with a 3 or 4 margin in the House. He's got Gates wanting to do a resolution getting rid of him every half hour. So who's winning this mano a mano battle between Matt Gates and Speaker McCarthy?
Joe Biden and the Democrats.
Yeah, aren't they? But who's making that possible? I have no doubt. I don't have any patience for Matt Gaetz anymore. The little kid should shut up. They should shut up and respect his elders. What a jackass. Threatening the speaker with removal. How's a guy going to run that? How's the guy going to run the House if he's constantly threatened with removal? It's ridiculous. You can disagree with him, but you can't do that. We got him. We got him for a year. Let's give him a chance. Damn, that wasn't a stupid decision that he made, given what's available. And also, doesn't he have any political sense? Doesn't he remember what happens to us when we close the government? We get killed. Now, it may not always happen, but why would we take the risk when we're running so well right now? We got everything going for us. I guarantee you that Trump's appearance today adds 2 to 3 more points, and he collects another $2-3 million. And with that judge's stupid smile,
Yeah.
that was gold.
Yeah.
That was gold.
That was.
I mean, Trump doesn't have to say he's a left-wing communist lunatic.
He looked like one.
He looked like a silly man. He looked like a
Smiling. What was that?
completely silly man.
It's embarrassing. It's
And
embarrassing.
all it does is emphasize his idiotic decision on Mar-a-Lago, which is a sign of his bias.
Yeah. I'll just add, Mayor, that even among our audience, there's a lot of frustration with Speaker Kevin McCarthy, and not just with Speaker McCarthy. They kind of see him, right, whether it's fair or not, as kind of representing, as kind of the face, right, the current face of their larger frustrations with Washington, with Congress, with career politicians. So, so I just want to throw that out there as well.
But the reality is that you don't run government. You don't run government by stopping it unless you have a victory strategy. And explain to me what the victory strategy is when you don't have the majority. There is none. So maybe it would be better if some of our so-called wanting to be heroes people talk to our people more honestly about what's doable and what is not doable. Yeah. And that really we should, I have no regard for any Republican that doesn't have their eye on the ball because I really prefer Americans to Republicans anyway. Yeah. And Americans have got to have their eye on saving this country. Anything that helps us save this country is what we should do right now. Anything that helps Biden and whoever might replace him, Newsom, Mrs. Obama, we got to watch out for. So this isn't about, we're not going to straighten out the economics of this country with a 4-vote majority in the House, a Democrat Senate and a Democrat president. We can stop some things. I think I give McCarthy credit for putting a hold on Ukraine. So we start taking a look at how much money is being stolen there. These are the things you're going to gain when you have so little power. But what we've got to be doing is building a record so that they trust us to govern. Closing government doesn't necessarily help in people trusting us to govern, particularly when it doesn't have a path to victory. If we could close government with a realistic possibility of coming out of it with a major cut in spending, I'd be the first one in favor of it. But I'm an adult, not a child. And some of the thinking is childish. Maybe that's the benefit of being 79, huh? Well,
maybe you had asked for some of the president's comments going into the courthouse. Do you want to close on that maybe?
Yes.
So we can play just a minute of that, and
And then we'll close out, and we'll be back tomorrow night, and we'll see. I don't know if he's showing up again tomorrow for the trial. I mean, he's got a campaign. He can't show up every day. Maybe he wants to even get another smile out of the judge. That smile was worth $1 million. Thank you, Judge. A couple more smiles like that.
Thank you very much. This is a continuation of the single greatest witch hunt of all time. We have a rogue judge who rules that properties are worth a tiny fraction, 1/100th, a tiny fraction of what they actually are. We have a racist attorney general who's a horror show, who ran on the basis that she was going to get Trump before she even knew anything about me. She used this to run for governor. She failed in her attempt to run for governor. She had virtually no polling. She came back and she said, well, now I'll go back to get Trump again. And this is what we have. It's a scam. It's a sham. Just so you know, my financial statements are phenomenal. They are actually less in terms of the numbers used than the
All right,
actual
you've been listening to Donald Trump as he's getting ready to walk into the courtroom. Donald Trump speaking. I think now we...
So back to you, Mayor.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he made a very excellent opening statement, acted like a gentleman and a serious person in court, only to have them demonstrate what clowns they are. I don't know if you saw it, but even the government lawyers, the AG's lawyers, were laughing and giggling. But the AG's office has never had much of a litigation staff. When I was a law clerk to a federal judge, every time the AG's office would come in, he would tell me, oh, my God, we're going to have to deal with them again. They don't know what the hell they're doing.
The state AG.
Yeah. It isn't the U.S. Attorney's Office. It isn't the Manhattan DA's office.
I sense maybe some federal versus state bias there. But
I wouldn't even call it bias. I mean,
it's just the facts. It's
it
the
isn't
truth.
even
Okay.
close. You tell me the big cases brought by New York State.
Just
None. Okay. Well, we'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be on radio on WABC Radio 3, the Rudy Giuliani Show, and we'll be back here with America's Mayor Live at 8 tomorrow night. And maybe we'll have some special
yeah, you'll want to stay tuned this week. We'll just say that.
tomorrow and Wednesday. Okay. God bless. God bless. Our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common sense.